Welcome to All My Friends Are Cooler Than Me. I'm Wes,
And I'm Dr. Laura. Enjoy today's episode.
and learn how to be just a little bit cooler.
All right, so in today's episode of All My Friends Are Cooler Than Me specifically, because everybody knows that my girlfriend is infinitely cooler than I am already, and one of the coolest human beings ever, is my dear friend Walt. He and I have known each other for a few years now, and when he and I met, it was at a work function. I showed up. I am a horrible ball of stress. I'm just getting my head kicked around left and right. And this guy walks in, and there's thousands of people around us. And I really don't know how to say this, but the man just exuded, I don't give a fuck, I'm awesome. And everybody just calmed down around him. It was wild. And he just started telling people what to do. And they just listened, and they did it with a smile on their face. And every creative decision the man made worked out perfectly. He has been a friend and a mentor to me ever since. He is honestly one of the most talented photographers I think exist, period. He started off in the military, but he has this amazing career coming forward with some of his photography that we'll get into a little bit. I'm going to ask him, let him describe it. But truly an inspiring man, inspiring leader, and a creative genius. So with that said, I'm gonna get you pulled up on the big screen. Pow! Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So, if you don't mind, do you have a story to share with us by chance? Talking about your creativity, your career, lessons learned, how you became so freaking cool.
Well, first I got to tell you, thanks for the intro. That was one hell of an intro. So I hope I live up to your intro here for your show. But no, really, it's been a pleasure, man. And knowing you for the last couple of years has been great. I would tell you, it has been a years and years in the making of getting to a specific point. I think in your life, in your career, of that thought process of, lack of better words, not giving a fuck, right? You walk into a place and you just say, do this, do that, do it this way, what you're looking for. There's a few things that come with that. First and foremost, the stories. I did not get to this by nature. By nature, I'm an extreme introvert. I don't like talking to people. Even talking here, I'm nervous. I don't like speaking in public forums. I do it all the time. It's just not really my thing. But it was a something that has been nurtured over the years of time. And without, I guess, getting kicked in the teeth enough and without failing enough, I wouldn't have gotten here without any of that. One of the biggest things I could tell you through failure, I've learned more than anything, than any win that I've ever had. The amount of failure and the ability to keep going is where that I don't give a fuck factor really comes in. Because every time I've screwed up or something went wrong, what happened? I survived. I'm still here. There's so many things that can go wrong in life, but you're still here. There's no reason to worry about those things, because guess what? We might do something stupid today, and tomorrow someone's going to do something even dumber. And everyone's going to forget about it. They're just going to forget about it. And it's not going to matter anymore. You know, we work in quotas, right? Like our job deals with a lot of quotas. Well, guess what? This month I might have missed a quota, but next month that guy over there missed it by twice as many. So, I mean, no one's really going to do anything to you. It's going to be just fine. So when I come to those events and I do that stuff, that's really where it comes from. Just failure, the amount of it, and then you end up being successful if you just keep moving forward one step at a time.
So basically, the secret to success is realizing that the guy or girl next to you is just worse.
Yeah.
That's what we learned from Alex. Downward social comparison.
You are both cooler than me and smarter than me, and you just you bring it back full circle every once in a while. Thank you. So with that said, those lessons that you learned through all that, how are you incorporating that into your photography?
Well, photography, again, same thing. I screwed up so many pictures, and I took a lot of time to get there, right? I got into photography by accident. It was actually the way I got into it was through wanting to do something positive with my life. So I was happened to be living in Seattle at the time. I had a lot of really good friends. They enjoyed beverages. They enjoyed to go out. We enjoyed, the nightlife of Seattle. It was a good time. It was a good place to be at. The problem with it was it's expensive. Two, it's extremely difficult to continue your body on that type of habit every night or every other night to continue consuming alcohol and going out and staying out late. It just messes with you. I try to live by four things. Those four things are personal development, professional development, family, fitness. So if I'm out and I'm staying out till 3 o'clock in the morning, nowhere in shape or form am I doing any of those other four things. So I thought about it for a minute and I was like, man, I got to do something constructive with my life. And the constructive thing for me was to learn something new. Everyone goes to college and does this thing. College is not my strong suit. Schooling is just not for me. It's a bunch of people telling me what to do or what I should learn or what I need to know in order to get somewhere. And I think I'm doing just fine without it. Not saying that I don't have college, but just saying I didn't need it to get to where I'm at. Right. So you look at it from that perspective, and I found a hobby or something I was interested in because my daughter did it in high school and she was very, very good at it. And I was like, man, I think I could do that. And I just got a camera, started taking pictures of city lights. That's really all it was. And I just wanted to figure out how to take nice street photography pictures. And then I would sit out there in the cold in February trying to figure out, you ever see those pictures where like the car drives by and it's got the light just zooming behind it? It's called a long exposure photo. And in order to do that, it takes some practice, it takes some time, it takes some finagling in your camera. And I sat out there in February for I would say about 4 hours, freezing, trying to take pictures like that on a bridge of cars. And it finally worked out, finally got it, but it was YouTube, look at the picture, YouTube, look at the picture, YouTube, look at the picture. And all over and over and over to try to get it done. If you go to my Instagram page, you can actually see some of those photos that I took way back then. That's how I ended up starting an Instagram. And then to turn it around, get into watching other people take pictures. I went to a photography, I guess a meetup, and there's a whole bunch of people taking pictures and all these models in a room. And I'm looking around at the photographers know what they're doing. The models knew what they're doing. And I was complete introvert in the corner. Like, you got to be kidding me. What did I get myself into? And one guy grabbed me and says, come on, man, let me help you. And it was over from there. He walked me through it, how to move my camera faster, how to get through some settings. And I took some pictures of people. There happened to be one guy there I took a picture of, and he loved that picture so much that he used it for his own book cover. And I was like, wow, that was just one meet. That was like first time taking a picture of a person. And he used that picture, and I've been hooked since. That's kind of where it all began, and it started, and leading up until now is where it got.
And it sounds like you're mostly self-taught. Did that process involve a lot of failure and learning from failure along the way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, now I'm making money from it. Before, I didn't make a dime. It was finding somebody who was willing to sit down and take a picture and sit there for an hour and a half just to practice settings and do that kind of stuff, because I wasn't good. I don't like to be in front of the camera. I enjoy being behind it. So this is weird right now. But the sitting behind the camera is where I'm most comfortable. And just having someone sit there to be patient with you and not get upset or this and that. And that's where a lot of it came from, through messed up picture here, messed up picture there. And eventually I remember I had this one lady, she sat for me for like about an hour and a half. I think out of all the photos that we took, I think she got 10 photos over an hour and a half. And that was, I think I took over 200 pictures. So that's actually practice.
I almost went with a joke in the intro about here's a man whose work needs no introduction, but he does because he does it behind the camera. So like you saying that, now I'm regretting it. I should have gone with it.
Missed opportunity.
You know. By the
You'll
way,
learn for next time. You failed there.
yeah, you actually were the photographer for our promos. That'll be coming out here in a couple of weeks, but before this episode releases, so weird timeline. But if you guys like the photos that are on our Instagram, go to WFE Photography. It's going to be linked on this. He's amazing. Just saying. Quick plug. Yeah. But so WFE Photography is kind of evolving into something else now.
Yes.
Would you mind telling us about it?
Sure. WFE Photography was where I started, how it got going. But I realized if I want to grow and get bigger into my own production, you can use your name, but I don't want to use my name. I want to be able to have people work with me, to be under a collective. There's going to be a few things coming out with that. There's going to be some merchandise. There's going to be, we're working on a videographer, working on myself for photos. I'm working on videography as well, so we can do more events, but we're going to link it in with everything I've been doing since, as far as concerts, New York Fashion Week, LA Fashion Week, Kansas City Fashion Week, Orlando fashion shows, all those things that I've been working on getting into and doing that. So it's going to be kind of an introduction of people that I meet, with introducing them into the world, putting them onto my website, and then forwarding on some of the stuff that they've also produced to make everyone win, right? There's a lot, all of us can eat.
Just out of curiosity here, and I know this is probably gonna, which fashion week has the best fashion?
So far, New York Fashion Week is pretty good. When I get to LA, that might be a close second. I hear great things about Kansas City. I'll be out there here shortly in Kansas City, so I'll have to let you know how that goes.
I'm going to be very sad if you don't say that. Fun fact, I don't know if you and I have actually talked about this or not, but I told you that I had a friend who did a podcast and got me interested in doing this, which is how I roundabout wound up here doing this with you and you right now. Walt is actually that friend.
Oh.
So your creative expression is not limited to photography, from what I've seen. You're talking about building this collective and kind of spearheading at the top of this umbrella. And I know you do that in your other line of work as well. How do you implement creativity into leadership, especially when you find yourself doing something that's very structured and rigid for work? How do you bring that creativity to the table in such a fearless manner? Is it hard to implement?
I just think in order to reach people, you have to be creative. My generation was, I tell you what to do and you say how high, right? That's the generation we grew up in. The new generation doesn't think that way. New generational, I don't know if you call it a gap, call it whatever it is, but that generation thinks differently. They think, well, why? They want to know why. They want to know how. They want to know when. They want to know how long. They want to know ask why 5 times in order for them to understand what's going on. And that's really what it comes down to. And in order for me to get in front of people and to reach people was getting creative. So what do people do now, and what are they into? It's podcasts. It's finding a way to reach someone that's not on a conference call, where they can actually see me, they can feel my emotion, they can see my face, right? I can send out a text message, and whenever you send a text message and you read that text message, you're going to read that text message based on the mood that you're currently in. I'm sure you do that all the time with Laura, right? You're like,
I mean,
she'll send you some text, hey, what are you doing later? Nothing. What do you mean nothing, right? Because she might be in a bad mood. Or it might be the opposite, right? Hey, babe, are you mad at me? You just sent me one word, right? It's all these other things that go along with it. So if I do that, people think I might be screaming because they're in a bad mood. And really, I'm not.
Is this that awkward part where I finally admit that I don't know how to read? I just keep smiling and people seem to think I know what I'm doing. So
Smile and nod, man. Smile and nod.
Today's episode is brought to you by the One Man, One Mic Foundation, Free Buck Water, Badger, Operation Gamify, and the Ink and Frame Collective. Check out the episode description for more details.
So, do you have any big psychological questions? Some big, forceful, Herculean lifts of monumental psychological impact?
I guess my biggest question kind of circles back to the why of it all, right? So it sounds like you found your way to photography as a way to get out of a potentially bad situation or at least do something that felt meaningful to you. So, in what ways has this photography journey given you a sense of purpose and meaning in your life?
I guess you could go with a couple things, right? In our line of work, there's a lot of people on a lot of medication. And when I was in my younger days, I used to do some Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I did a lot of running, but in like challenges, like 250-mile races with like buddies. And as you get older, the body just can't do that all the time. And so I competed in CrossFit events, all this stuff. And for me, that when I did those things, it was a release of the rigidness, the tough day. It was my therapy, right? And how do you get through that? And I tell people that when I talk about my four pillars: personal development, professional development, family, and fitness. When I say fitness, I don't mean how far you can run, how many push-ups you can do, but how do you shut this off? How does this get turned off when you're struggling or you're having a bad day at work? How does the brain turn off if you don't have someone to talk to? If you don't want to go to therapy, no one wants to go to therapy, but that was my therapy. That's my way of turning my brain off from everything that goes on in the day. People will tell you, oh, go for a run and you can think about it, or go for a run and you'll feel better. No, when I go for a run, my world comes crashing down because I'm fixing the world's problems as I'm running, because nothing's taking it away. I can't stop breathing. I can't catch my breath. There's something going on. And I'm thinking about everything I had to do for the next day. What happened today? I'm thinking about someone that did something wrong, and now I'm mad about it. It didn't help. So what shuts it off was photography. Photography shut it off. And what else shuts it off for a lot of people? Those things that take you down that downward spiral: the drinking, the drugs, the anything that you can think of that's destructive behavior. That's kind of where I was trying to get away from. Not shutting it off destructively, but taking that energy that I've had to turn it off and move it in a positive direction is really where I was going with it. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that like hit hard, like right here. That was solid. Thank you. Yeah. So I guess my question then is kind of to you. What lessons do you think can be extrapolated from that?
So I think we can talk broadly about kind of the psychological benefits of creative expression, because that's what I'm hearing kind of over and over again in your stories. And the data suggests that there are three major benefits of creative expression. One is emotion regulation. Two is cognitive flexibility. And the third is social connectedness. And you seem to be hitting on all three of those. So, like you said, one of the major reasons that you use photography and the function that it has for you is a way to shut off the noise, stop the rumination, stop the negative thoughts, and be able to cope with some of your emotions in a way that feels healthy and adaptive, rather than some of these more kind of destructive coping mechanisms like drinking, for example. And so the data suggests that creative expression is a really, really helpful way to get people to process and deal with their emotions, both positive and negative, right? It's a way to work through however you're feeling. And then at the end of the day, you have this tangible, symbolic product that actually kind of is a reflection of that processing that you did. So, working through emotions, learning to regulate your emotions in kind of a healthy way, is one of the most clear benefits, psychologically speaking, of creative expression, but it's not the only one. So the next one would be cognitive flexibility, right? So one of the things that we know is that when people are very rigid, when they think about things in a fixed way or in a black and white kind of way, that starts to cause problems for them. So learning to think out of the box, to consider alternatives, to approach things from different angles, to problem solve, those are all facets of what we call cognitive flexibility. And being creative requires that, right? So like Walt, when you were saying how you incorporate creativity into your other ventures or into how you lead people, all of that is evidence of cognitive flexibility, being able to be creative, think outside the box, address things from a perspective that other people aren't seeing, right? And then the third way that creative expression has been shown to be really helpful from a psychological perspective is in fostering social connection, right? So a lot of the time when we are creative, we are producing these products not just for ourselves, but also to share with the rest of the world. So Walt, you have this awesome Instagram. I look forward to seeing the growth of the photos across time. I think that those
yeah.
car photos are going to be really cool from the beginning. But so you're sharing these products with other people. And then sometimes there's actually an opportunity to engage in the creative process in an actual social collection. And that is exactly what you're doing now with your new venture. Is not only are you focused on your own creativity and your photography, but you're bringing in all of these people with different skill sets and different interests, and you guys are creating something bigger, creating something together. And we know that when we feel socially connected, that is one of the best predictors of psychological well-being. So being a creative person has helped you to shut off the noise, but it also probably is helping you in these various other ways that you may have not even realized.
Not at all. Didn't that's good stuff right there. That is good.
This is why they gave me the PhD.
Yeah, this is good. I should have went to school.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why I'm here right now because like she's obviously the smart one and the pretty one. I guess I'm tech support. That's yeah.
One thing that's really cool about it, though, is that everyone can do this, right? So I think a lot of people have this idea that they're not creative. They can't paint, they can't draw, they're not good at music. You can take all of these concepts and apply it to anything that you want to get better at, any skill that you want to develop. So in psychology, we call this skill called building mastery. So essentially, you take something challenging but achievable. So learning how to be a photographer, starting from the beginning, or learning how to cook, or maybe you want to teach yourself calculus, whatever the case may be, right? You pick some kind of skill that's going to be a challenge for you, but that you think you can achieve. And you work incrementally and you get better and better and better at it over time, which is exactly what happened with you with your photography skills. And one of the things that's really cool is as we build mastery, it increases this sense of accomplishment, but it also gives us a broader sense of self-efficacy, that we are able to be effective people, we can make things happen, and it increases self-esteem and well-being. And so even if you're not a painter or a musician or a creative writer, you can build mastery, you can use these skills yourself.
Absolutely.
I'm going to use this as a quick way to plug our sponsor or one of our sponsors where we talk about like incorporating this. But, you talked about that thinking outside of the box element, right? The cognitive flexibility. I just think it's a little ironic that the collective is named
Ink and frame.
which is a ah, 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 ah. Yeah,
That's
joke.
funny. That's good. That's good.
I mean, so you deal a lot with developing people at a young age and kind of getting them started on careers. You know, we've talked a lot about, you know, how you have kind of integrated the creative process into that. Um, I guess my big question is, if you were to go back and kind of like talk to 17-year-old you, or if you were to get, you know, a room full of young people together, or just people that were looking to see the benefits of the values, how do you think that you would word that to them? If you had to provide them that kind of like bullet point, like, listen, here's what this is, here's why it matters, here's how you do it.
Man, that's a deep question. So let me think about that one for 1 second.
Hey,
I think
that's what's convenient about being the host, though. I get to just ask questions. I don't have to give big, thoughtful, insightful answers. I
yeah.
literally am just a dumb one. I'm not here because I'm cool. I'm not here because I'm smart. Smile, ask questions, stall for time so that Walt can think about an answer, you know, by telling stupid jokes and being,
Well,
you know,
I'm going to forget my answer here in a second. No,
because I'm
kidding,
making you laugh.
I think if I were to go back, tell 17-year-old self how to essentially get to where I want to get to, but I probably want to get there faster, is to not give a fuck about a lot of shit. Like, I used to really, really care about what people thought. I used to really care about the image, um, the making sure everything looks picture perfect. It's not. I got just as much shit as you do, as the next person. We all got problems, right? And if I could have just realized that sooner, man, I could have done a whole lot more with where I'm at now. I'd be a lot further than where I am now. I wouldn't be. I feel like sometimes I'm playing catch up. But if I had just learned that sooner, I would have got there. It took some time.
Are you just saying that because I wrote down "don't give a fuck" on your profile sheet?
No,
It's kind of like,
seriously, like, no, not at all. There's a lot when you get into the Navy. When I first came in, I joined. It was all about shiny boots, uniforms, all these things, and a lot of that stuff didn't really matter, and that's just kind of how life progressed down the road. You worry about too many things. You can only prioritize so many things in life, and once you figure out what those priorities are, you stick to that and you move forward. Everything else is just noise.
yeah. I think that's kind of like what the emotional regulation part kind of feeds into as well, right? Like the separating yourself from all of those points of noise, even when they're coming from inside your own head.
Exactly. Or getting them outside of your head, right? So one of these strategies that helps is to take something internal and make it external, right? Now it's something that you can wrestle with. It's something that you can transform. You can make meaning of it, or you can get rid of it, right? If it's just really unhelpful, getting it outside of your head and onto paper or onto a frame can be really helpful.
I mean, like, I don't think anybody can ever really truly be 100% like objective about their own shit. But, externalizing it, I imagine, would give you the closest thing to that a single individual could achieve, right? Like, yeah, makes sense. I'm with it. So let's just kind of like recap this for the bullet points, right? So creativity is awesome. Walt is a very awesome creative. And the benefits are emotional regulation,
Cognitive
cognitive
flexibility.
and an unquenchable thirst for success. That was the third one, right?
Yeah, or social connection.
Social connection, that's right. Yeah. Which is awesome because like we're all friends now. Which, I mean, if you read
Exactly.
the media release, I put an Easter egg in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just signed papers, man. I just knew it was going to be fire, so I just figured sign the papers and let's do it.
Well, I would, after this ends, I would highly recommend going back and reading the legally binding document. that I snuck an Easter egg into, because apparently,
No one has read it. Yeah.
am I literally the only person on earth that reads the terms and conditions of things?
Yes.
And like, really. All right, it's fair.
That just shows that. I think that just shows how genuine of a person you are. That everyone knows that you would never do anything terrible. They're just gonna go ahead and give you the green light right off the bat, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's so I'm like sitting here watching the sun change, and like it's now it's like night. Thank you.
Well, that is pretty good, huh? It's pretty
Yeah.
good out there.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna give you the Cliff Notes version of it. You are now legally bound to be friends with us for the rest of time.
Nice. We can do that. Make
Yeah.
that happen. Do I get to come back?
On this show?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah, you're welcome
Yeah.
back anytime.
Yeah.
Bring a friend
Yeah.
with you, someone extra cool.
Yeah.
Next time we'll talk about my book.
There you go.
Hell yeah. Seriously, though,
Dr. Sugar and I have something for you.
really? Okay. Hell yeah. Keep me posted.
Yeah.
I've got a book coming out too. It's a coloring book because again, I don't know how to read or write, but you know.
For adult coloring books?
Sure, we'll say that.
Great for therapy, man. Great for therapy.
Yeah. It's that flavored crayons. It's gonna be the
Yeah,
best.
man. That's how you shut it down, man. Shut it off like that with some Zen music and you're in.
Yeah. Seriously, well, thank you so much. Not just for coming on the show with us tonight, but just for being yourself. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being a mentor and like a big brother to me. You have always answered the phone, or at least called me back very shortly thereafter. You've been there for me during a lot of times where I thought I was going to pull my hair out or pull someone else's hair out, and brought me back to center. And it's all these positive things that we've talked about that just drive that home, because everybody that I talk to about you has amazing things to say. You inspire the people around you. You inspire the people below you, and you go out and you create beauty in the world. And I cannot capture in words how much value you add to my world, at least.
I appreciate that, man. Goes both ways, man. Definitely does.
Every episode of All My Friends Are Cooler Than Me is made possible by the One Man, One Mic Foundation. Purpose, belonging, and connection are often found in a life of service, but so rarely in the silence that comes after. The One Man, One Mic Foundation exists to help veterans and active duty service members find purpose through storytelling, belonging within our communities, and connection to the world through podcasting. Help bring them back to community. Find out more at onemanOneMicFoundation.org.